Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Transfer Express webinar, What's New in Baseball Uniform Printing? My name is Andy Curtis. I am the training coordinator here at Transfer Express, and I am happy to be joining you from snowbound, ice-filled Mentor, Ohio. Hopefully it's a little warmer where you're at, maybe a little bit above 14 degrees. Oh, I'm sorry. My webinar just kicked me out here. Let's fix that. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. So welcome, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day, and I look forward to spending the next 45 minutes with you. If you have joined me before, then thank you for coming back. You know how we love to join you once a month and give you these fun little tidbits, some interesting information. And the goal here, if you've never joined me before, welcome. The goal is just to inspire you a little bit, to give you some ideas, to teach you some things you might not have thought of before. We hope to just pack the next 45 minutes with interesting information regarding what's new in baseball uniform printing. We've got a lot of fun ideas for you. We've got a lot of hints and tips. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, even how to score accounts and how to go about taking care of your different baseball accounts differently. And then there's a lot of different types of baseball leagues and teams and stuff out there. So we're going to do a little bit of education on the background stuff, and we're going to talk about some hints and tips in terms of printing uniforms and stuff too. So hopefully over the next 45 minutes to hour, you get some interesting information. So now, usually this is where I would tell you that the webinar is being recorded and the slides in the webinar will be available later today. But unfortunately, we do have a little website thing going on right now. The slides and the recording that we're doing here will be available on our website within the next week. So after the webinar today, if you do want the slides sooner, if you find the information really useful and you want to get your hands on it sooner than a week out, you are welcome to email info, I-N-F-O, @transferexpress.com, and we can get the slides to you a little bit sooner. So with that being said, my assistant is behind the curtain manning that chat box, so I will see your chat boxes pop up here, hopefully. I don't see any right now, but if you have questions, please feel free to type in the chat box, and we will definitely address them. If I do not answer them myself, then my assistant behind the curtain certainly will. So we are going to go ahead and get started with what's new in baseball uniform printing. All right, so here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about different baseball and softball organizations and how to sell to each one. We're going to talk about some of the new material types and the best ways to print on them. That one of the most beautiful things about our industry is that things are always changing. Things are always evolving. I think that's so cool. I've been doing this for 13 years this past month, and it amazes me how much things have changed since when I started in this industry. So we're going to talk about profitable add-on sales that can be ordered using uniform artwork, and then we're going to talk about some other opportunities. So we're going to do a little bit of sales. We're going to do a little bit of what to put on what. So this should be interesting. There should be a lot of information here about a lot of different stuff. So please feel free to ask questions along the way. All right, so let's start with getting in the business. So we're going to talk about getting your foot in the door with baseball and softball business. So there's a couple things to understand. There's 4 general, and mind you, we're talking real general here. This isn't like a hard and fast carved in stone rule, but in general, there are 4 different types of baseball, softball businesses that you can attract. You've got your leagues. Leagues are typically run by volunteers. You can find their information on the internet via the city recreation department's website or just the city website. It's very competitive to get leagues. The budgets are very tight and the profits are a little bit on the low side. But what it is continuing business. The benefit to getting into a league is that when you get your foot in the door with them once, unless something goes heinously wrong, odds are you're going to have them coming back to you. But leagues can be good because it's a lot of business. Leagues can be very large, and it guarantees you a whole bunch of business. Now, this, of course, means you need to be able to support all this business in terms of space and speed and guarantees for production times and that kind of stuff. But I can agree that I can vouch for this because the city of Mentor here, if you've ever joined me, you know I like to use Mentor here, Mentor, Ohio, where Transfer Express is located. I like to use it as an example. And in Mentor here, you can hit the city's website and you can go to the recreation section of their website, and you've got all sorts of information on all the leagues, actually just baseball even, but all the leagues. And what's nice is you get the information there too via the website on who's in charge and how you can get a hold of them and that kind of stuff. So in terms of being able to put your hat in the ring, throw your quote in the ring there, it's easy to track these people down generally. So then you've got schools. Now, school uniform business is incredibly competitive because everybody knows once you get into a school, you're pretty much guaranteeing that you're going to be able to get more than just that business. And not for sure, of course, but if you manage to get yourself into, let's say, the baseball team, odds are pretty good you're going to be able to put up a good reason for the basketball team or the football team or the cheerleaders or the boosters or somebody to jump on your bandwagon as well. So school uniform business is very competitive because everybody knows that it's a great way to get more and more and more business, not just the one sport that you're going for. Plus, there's a lot of opportunities with stuff on the sidelines. Parents need things. The school needs spirit stuff. There's a lot of doors that open when you manage to get into the school uniform business in terms of baseball here. Then you've got travel teams, travel baseball teams. Now, these are great opportunities. They typically have a little bit of a higher budget per player because these are people who are a little bit more serious than just your local recreational league or a little bit more serious than the high school per se. These are people who are actively pursuing baseball as a pastime and a hobby. So naturally, there's going to be a little bit of talent going on here, which naturally means there's going to be some more money to flow. So you have an opportunity to do more imprinting. You have an opportunity to be a little bit more creative, do something a little bit more different when it comes to the travel teams. And because of the way the budget works, each player tends to buy their own, or each team rather tends to buy its own goods. So what's nice is you don't have to worry about an entire league per se. You've got one team to worry about. So that's another opportunity. Then you've got your general adult teams. Now, these are a good opportunity to get your foot in the door. It's not quite as much money per player because we're talking about travel leagues. Travel teams tend to be very serious, very competitive. Adult leagues aren't necessarily less competitive, but adult teams are going to be a little bit more, let's say, recreational, a little bit more pastimey as opposed to serious competition. So there's going to be a little bit less money spent, right down to the fact that it's usually just a T-shirt and a hat. We're not talking about full-on baseball uniforms or anything like that when we're talking adult teams. And I'm sure we've all got that friend that plays on a baseball team with a bunch of guys from the local area or those co-ed teams. We've all got those in the area here, and those are relatively easy to find. Also, because of God bless the internet, simply Googling this kind of stuff, you should be easily able to find these types of teams in your area or the nearest urban central to where you're located. So these are just 4 examples. And of course, like I said, this is not written in stone. These aren't the only 4 kinds of baseball businesses you can drum up, but these are a good example, a good cross section of 4 different types of baseball businesses you can run across. So let's talk about leagues a little bit more. Here's a tip for leagues. Now, we see customers do this every year where they will get the chance to bid on a league. They'll get really excited. They'll get the list of teams, and they decide to come up with different designs for each team, and it gets complicated because then you've got different colors for the shirts and different inks for it just gets complicated. So one of the best suggestions, one of the easiest suggestions to give people when you're doing a league for the first time, keep it simple. Suggest one common logo for the whole league rather than for each team. Like our example here, we've got simple QBA 243 Mentor softball, and notice how it's black or it's white. We just did a color change on it depending on the ink color, or rather depending on the shirt color that you're pressing it on. This makes life easier. You don't have to worry about multiple designs for multiple teams. And you get a great price break because you're ordering a higher quantity of this one design. So you save yourself a whole bunch of cash if when you're doing a league, you manage to get them to go with one common logo for the whole league. Now, another way to go is if you're not going to go with, if you're not going to go the logo direction, or perhaps we're talking about the back of your shirt, instead of talking about like sponsor logos, like let's say you're baseball team is being sponsored by the local True Value hardware store. It's got their own logo. Instead of putting the team's or the company's logo on the back of the jersey, keep it simple and let's just go with strips of names. Just simple strips of text, no logos, no craziness, and you can put it above the number on the back where the player's name would generally go. So you've still got that sponsor getting their recognition. They're still on the jerseys. It's just easier to go about it without the logo because then you can do strips of words like you see here. We call these sponsor sheets here at Transfer Express. These sponsor sheets are great because you can generally fit a whole bunch of names on one sheet of paper like you can see there. These are, I believe, 2-inch by 11-inch sponsors, 2-inch tall by 11 wide, and you see we can fit 6 of them on a sheet. So we take those 6 spaces, and instead of putting the same sponsor 6 times, we go 6 different sponsors. So you can see we did King Electric and East Bay Bank and East Bay Auto and Gigi's Cleaners, so forth. So what we've done here is by eliminating the sponsor's logo and by ganging all of these sponsors onto one sheet of paper, you save yourself a whole bunch of cash. And then all we got to do is cut these apart when we receive the sheets, just cut them into strips, and then easy to press. So now here's another idea. If you're going the direction of caps, if you do have to do caps for your league, there is a way to go about doing this, saving some money. Obviously, you don't want to do too many orders. The whole goal is to keep it as few orders as possible, actually. So one of the ways you can go about this is by ganging as much stuff on a sheet as you possibly can. In our example here, we're doing 2 teams, the Tigers and the Eagles. And not only are we doing their hats, but we're doing the full fronts of their shirts all on the same sheet of paper. See, our paper is 11 1/4 by 14. So if we go with what baseball loves, this whole script and tail design, if we go with that type of design, then we can easily put 2 script and tails on one sheet and still have enough room to put some of those heart size logos on there too. So, or hat size rather. So then what you've got is you've got one sheet of paper that's doing both teams' uniforms all at the same time. So the name of the game here, folks, just summarize it, is just utilize as much space on the paper as you possibly can. You've got 11 1/4 by 14, so put as much on there as you possibly can. That's the idea here. And even if you're not going to do hats, even if we're not talking hats here, then you could use this extra space for things like an American flag to put on the shoulder of the shirt, or you could use this for an extra little spot to do another Eagles baseball or Tigers baseball, and then you've got instant fan wear. So there's a whole bunch of different things you can do with the extra space on the shirt, even if you're not doing hats. Just utilize all the extra space. So now here's a tip. You've heard me talk about this before in years past if you've ever joined me for a baseball-themed webinar like this. One thing you can do when you're doing a league or you're doing a travel team or an adult team, whatever, you can offer to individually pack each player's items, especially if we're talking a travel team where we've got pants and we've got uniforms and belts and socks and all that good stuff. You can offer to pack the items individually. So what you've got is you get these bags, just some plain clear plastic bags, pack in all of the players' items, the pants, the shirt, all that good stuff, and then what you do is you throw in a flyer regarding your business. Now, see, this makes perfect sense because one of the things you can do is don't just concentrate on the baseball itself. Don't just concentrate on the league itself or the travel team itself. Think about future business. These people aren't just baseball players. These people have families. They go to churches. They have businesses of their own. They need custom printed garments for things other than their baseball team. So if you make up some kind of flyer and put these flyers in with the individual packaging of the uniforms, it's instant advertisement for you. And by giving these individually bagged uniforms to the team, you're basically ensuring that that flyer is going to make it home with all the team members one way or another. So it's another great example of advertising, and of course some kind of splashy, fun flyers. Best remember to include your phone number and your website or your email address. So definitely a great way to drum up some business. Now, even if you don't get the league bid, this does not stop you from going to games and selling to the parents. This is an example of one of the flyers that we have that you can actually print up yourself right at transferexpress.com. You simply go to the help and education section of our website, and you will see a link for sales flyers. We help you out by giving you flyers like this that are easily customizable, and you download the flyer. Then you go to our Easy View online design tool, design some parent wear, okay, and then use the designs from Easy View, download them, import them into the flyer, and then what you've got is a fantastic tool to take to these baseball games and sell to the parents. So fanwear is obviously super popular. This is actually, the funny part is when you're talking about sports like baseball leagues like this, the big money tends to be in the add-on sales. It tends to be in the parent shirts and the spirit shirts and the extra things for the players. So there's a whole bunch of directions you could go with this. It doesn't have to necessarily be just the parents. This could be an add-on sale for the players. You could be selling other bits and pieces for the players themselves. So, but we'll get into some of those add-on items in just a couple minutes here. Now, most leagues, and this is, again, not a written in stone thing, but through experience here, most leagues do not offer names due to budgetary constraints, but the parents will pay extra to get their child's name directly onto the there. If you're in that position where somebody's got a baseball uniform or some kind of baseball gear and there's some space, they want to add a kid's name, and there's something already on the shirt, and this is a great tip, actually, for even outside of baseball, to be totally honest with you. But when you're putting a transfer on a shirt that's already got screen printing or a transfer on it already, you need to make sure to cover up the existing screen print or the existing transfer with a cover sheet first. So what you'll do is you'll lay down your name where you need it to go. Then you'll cover up the whole thing, the name and the number and everything. You'll cover up the whole thing with some kind of cover sheet, and then press the transfer. You'll peel the cover sheet back, and your number or the existing screen print should be totally intact, and then you peel the name, and it's good to go. Now, it's important to note, and I'm sure somebody's asking this, but for some reason I'm not getting your chat boxes today, folks. I don't know why. I'm sure somebody's going to ask this, so I'm just going to cut you off. When we're talking about using cover sheets and covering up the stuff that's printed already, we do not want to use a Teflon sheet necessarily. And if you do choose to use a Teflon sheet, you're going to want to turn your heat up just a little bit, about 5 degrees. The Teflon cover sheets, the non-stick cover sheets, they tend to diffuse heat, and that's a very important thing transfer needs for it to apply correctly. So if you are going to use one of those non-stick cover sheets, make sure to turn it up 5 degrees. Otherwise, what we would suggest is we do offer cover sheets here at Transfer Express. A pack of 10 cover sheets is very, very cost effective, and they do get through a couple of uses before they need to be thrown away. So covering up with just a regular cover sheet or a regular piece of transfer paper is the best direction to go because it doesn't detract from the heat. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about schools. When we're talking about a school baseball team, the uniforms are typically ordered by the athletic director. Now, this is another one of those positions that's easy to locate generally when you use the internet. Again, using our school here in the area as an example, Mentor High School has its administration information right there on their website. They clearly label who's who, and one of the people on there is the athletic director. So what's beautiful about this is it's pretty easy to hunt down these people. And when you're talking to the coach about doing the jerseys themselves, you're going to want to talk to them about a line of apparel for the players and the parents all at the same time. Show them what you're capable of doing. Show them what you can do, and not just things like spirit wear for the high school or for the parents, but also extra things for the players like pullovers, the windbreakers, that kind of stuff. Great items to add on, but here's where you're going to hook them. Here's how you're going to get the school to agree to it. Show them what you can do for the whole team, for the parents, for the spirit program, and then tell them what you're going to do is $1 from every sale you're going to kick in to the boosters or to the baseball team or something to that effect. And what it does is it creates this fundraiser for them. And so now it's a great opportunity. You can call it a fundraiser. People will be more willing to purchase the materials, will be more willing to purchase the garments, and it still gets you the business. And it's actually a great in, too. If you've already secured being able to quote the school, showing them what you're capable of here will, needless to say, give them ideas for other sports down the road, for the cheerleaders, for the other teams that the school hosts as well. So travel teams, obviously these are a huge opportunity. They have a much bigger budget. Each team buys their own tidbits. So this is one of those things where we're talking about a lot more money to dispose of here. The coach themselves is a volunteer, and it's important to note that when we talk about these travel teams, the coach is somebody who genuinely actually wants to coach. This is somebody who takes it seriously. This is somebody who is actually doing this for fun in their free time, who takes baseball incredibly seriously, these travel team coaches. So come with samples, go to them ready to show them what you're capable of doing. Be excited, be ready to outfit their team, show them that what you can do is different than what the other people can do. And again, you can find these people online. If you search for travel baseball in your area, it's generally easy to find travel leagues, travel teams in your area, especially if you're in an urban center. Being near to Cleveland gives us a great opportunity here at Transfer Express. If we were going to do this, for example, because we're near Cleveland, we've got a great urban area not too far away, and there's lots of travel teams in the area. Once you locate travel team information, you can generally find out who the coach is and get phone numbers and email addresses, because how else are people going to join the team? You'll just utilize the same information for contacting the coach regarding the uniforms. So adult teams, like we talked about earlier, these guys are generally self-financed. They don't have a lot of cash. Usually they're wearing just plain old T-shirts and plain hats. There's not much to their uniforms. These are the people that enjoy a fun, friendly game on a weekend before going out to a local bar and having a couple drinks. These are the types of people that are taking the baseball seriously, but it's not life or death. So again, to find just your local adult league or your local adult recreation league, online searches are easily turning up information in terms of the coach's name, contact information. But when you quote these people, remember to keep it simple, keep it low cost. You don't want to scare them away, because they're not going to have a lot of cash anyway, because people can't afford to spend a whole bunch of extra money on these baseball uniforms, especially when they're not seriously playing. It's just for fun, per se. So the adult leagues, make sure you don't go crazy. A one-color design on a T-shirt is a great place to start for a quote on an adult team. All right, so let's talk about application. Since we talked about the who, let's talk about the how. So when you're applying your names and your numbers to the back of the jersey, what we do at Transfer Express is we make this as simple as possible for you. Yes, the numbers do come on individual pieces of paper. The name comes on an individual strip. But before you get anxious and you get out the ruler and the T-square to try and line everything up, totally not necessary. What we do at Transfer Express here is we offer what we call perfect pairings. And the funny part is you don't have to ask for it specifically, because everything comes this way in our name and number category. When you purchase an Express name and easy print numbers, they're all on pre-spaced, pre-centered pieces of paper. So when you go to do a double-digit number, all you actually have to do is line the two pieces of paper up next to each other. We're talking corner to corner. Now, if one of the bottom corners goes down just a little bit further, if they're not exactly meticulously the exact same size paper, you line them up at the top. But anyway, so you line your two numbers up corner to corner when you're doing a double-digit number. Then you take your Express name and simply butt the bottom of the Express name up against the top of the numbers. So now you're taking that whole entity, all the paper's touching, and then you're centering that whole entity as a whole onto the back of the shirt. So very simple to do, very fast, and you can do everything in one-step application. Here's a beautiful thing. If you've ever used the film numbers, they're a great product. They're fantastic. But what's great about the transfer numbers is that it's a one-step application, even for two colors. So when you're doing screen print transfer numbers, you could have two colors, black and white, on this maroon shirt easily, and it's just one application because both colors are already on the paper. We're screen printing all of it onto the paper all at the same time. So it's just one-step application. And once you've put your papers together, you've paired up your two numbers, you've butted the Express name up against the top of the numbers, you're simply hitting the whole thing for 365 degrees for 4 seconds, 10 degrees higher if you have an off-brand press that's not Hotronics, and boom, you peel all the papers warm and you're good to go. So it's very simple to do. It's very easy. And it's funny because anytime I've ever coached somebody through this, the first time they do it, everyone's very meticulous and they're very careful and everything is perfectly lined up and every application takes a couple minutes because you got to look at everything. And it's funny how after doing this a couple times, you realize how easy it is just to throw it all together and keep going. You hit a rhythm, you hit your stride, and you begin to eyeball these things after one or two applications. It's very easy. So polyester and wicking fabrics, these are super popular right now. The polyester performance wear is super popular. Wicking fabrics that have performance qualities to them, very, very popular. The only downside to a lot of these garments, like the one you see the gentleman in the picture here wearing, the only downside is they're generally all of them heat sensitive, which is a problem because a lot of transfers don't apply at the low heat that these need. Goof-proof, for example, our usual goof-proof product that we would almost always recommend applies at 365, which unfortunately would scorch this type of fabric. However, we do have a type of transfer. It's called ElastiPrint. ElastiPrint is great because it presses at only 275 degrees, making it pretty much the scorch-proof solution for your heat-sensitive polyester, for your wicking, for your performance wear fabrics, that kind of stuff. So ElastiPrint isn't going to scorch when you press it. And number two, ElastiPrint is beautiful because it actually stretches with the performance wear, assuming that's the direction you're going. If you do have one of these stretchy performance wear garments, the ElastiPrint stretches with it. And we do have several styles available for the ElastiPrint numbers. We've got Champ Pro, we've got Euro Pro, and Avalon. And what I will throw out there, if anybody's looking for some really different numbers, if you're looking for something interesting this year, the Euro Pro numbers are really cool. They've got kind of a drop shadowy look to them. If you're one of those baseball leagues looking for something different, technically it is a little soccer oriented, but hey, it's different and it's not the usual. So if you're looking for something unique this year, check out that Euro Pro stuff. Split fronts. This is a question that we get at least 10 times a day, if not more, every day during baseball season, is how to go about doing split fronts. Split fronts are actually super easy. You don't have to do too much in terms of special steps to them. We don't have to do any extra special production to them. When you are doing a split front, you just order your transfers business as usual, and then you'll actually cut them yourself with a pair of scissors during the application process. And I promise it's super simple. Now, instead of trying to describe this to you step by step over this webinar, what I'm going to suggest to everybody do is go to transferexpress.com, just transferexpress.com, and in the search function at the top of the page, type in split front. And you'll see we have a video that will come up. We've got some blog posts that will come up, all of the split front video application. It's very simple. And if for some reason the search feature doesn't spit out the split front results, I know we were having issues with our search feature earlier today. You can always go to the Transfer Express blog and search it there because the blog post has the video and has the step-by-step features on how to do a split front. It's actually very simple. Like I said, you're going to end up just cutting it yourself, and it's just a multiple-step application. But we have a foolproof method for doing it. That means everything is lined up. Nothing looks weird. Like you can see from the Bengals design of the picture here, that's actually the shirt that they make during the video for the step-by-step instructions on how to do split fronts. So you can see it turned out fantastic. So more team needs. These are some add-on sales that you need to think about when you do have a team. Even if you're dealing with a league that doesn't have a lot of cash, it's always a great idea to at least tell them what you're capable of doing for them. Even if they don't have a great budget and you know for sure they're not going to be able to add too much to these sales, it's great for you to tell them what you're capable of. If for no other reason than for additional sales down the line, when somebody needs something, they already know who you are. So bat bags. Bat bags are a great add-on sale depending on the level that we're dealing with. Maybe not the leagues per se, but the travel teams, maybe even the adult team could use one of these. Now, here's the catch to bat bags. Obviously, as you can see from the picture, this bag is massive. It's got straps all over the place, and it's got piping and zippers and handles and seams. Needless to say, these look like a great big challenge, but it's actually easier to press on these than you think. There's two strategies. The whole point when you're pressing on a bat bag like this is to get a flat surface. So now you can achieve a flat surface by using one of the interchangeable Hotronix heat lower Platens for the heat press. If you have a Hotronix press, we do offer a small bagger Platen. We've got the 9-inch round Platen. We've got a couple options there. Some small Platens that you can use to actually avoid all the obstacles. What would happen is you'd put your smaller Platen on your Hotronix press, and then that allows you to sort of sleeve your bag over top of the Platen. And because it's so small, all the obstacles will hang over the edge. You'll get your flat surface. Boom, done. Now, if you don't have an extra Platen, the other option here is to raise your surface area. Now, bags like this can still be a little bit of a challenge because you have half the bag hanging on your press, half the bag hanging off your press. But you find something firm like mouse pads or cardboard or even some big books, and you're going to put them up underneath the bag, and you're going to raise the surface area where you want the transfer to go. By raising the surface area, you avoid all those obstacles that will prevent the pressure from properly adhering your transfer. So bat bags, great add-on sale. We do have non-apparel products here at Transfer Express as well. One of our non-apparel products is banners. The banners are a great add-on for baseball teams because they need advertisement somehow, even if it's not the team itself, even if it's a league, they need to advertise league signups. How else are they going to get enough kids to be able to do the baseball league? High schools, especially high schools, are great for this. Even if they're not doing individual players like you see in the example on the right-hand side there, some kind of banner to put up during baseball season. I know our local high school, the stadium, will have a banner on it during baseball season. There'll be a banner up advertising the local baseball team. Go Cardinals. So banners are a great add-on because there's a bunch of different reasons to have one. Whether it's just to advertise the team, it's to celebrate a win, to celebrate all-stars, to celebrate achievements, or to just put the individual players' names up there for recognition. There's a ton of reasons why a school could use a banner. And the great news is that these banners are very cost-effective. So definitely a great direction to go. And here's what's beautiful about this is that when you've done the team uniform with us, we've already done the artwork for the front of your uniform. So we can just take that same artwork from the front of the uniform and just paste it right into the artwork for the banner. What that means for you is it's the exact same logo. You don't have to worry about it looking any differently. And the team gets something personalized. So definitely a great add-on. More to that effect, when we're talking about non-apparel products, we've got helmet stickers. Our helmet stickers are great for baseball because it is not a contact sport per se in terms of you're not going to have two baseball players colliding helmet to helmet. At least hopefully not. But the stickers are great for the baseball helmets. They are weather resistant to a degree. They're also fade resistant, heat resistant to a degree. So it's not something that's going to come off during a game. It's not going to start peeling and getting gummy and yucky. So these stickers are great. And that, like I said, they will last through rainstorms, through the elements to some degree as well. So helmet stickers, another great option to add on for a team because who doesn't need, stickers for the baseball helmets? Window decals for mom and dad. This is actually real slick. The window decals are great for the Spirit Wear or the Spirit store if your high school has a Spirit store. If we're talking about high school baseball, if we're talking about a travel team, it's a great item for all the players to have to advertise their team on the back of their car. The window decals are fantastic because they're very resistant to the elements. They are a semi-permanent adhesive. Don't be fooled by the semi word, though, because they are a project to try and get off. If you do want them to come off, they really are very more permanent than semi-permanent, I'd say. So the window decals are a great product because they last forever. They stand the weather. They look great through the elements. So let's talk about some other opportunities. I think this is a real fun untapped market. Now, this is a challenge, and a lot of people are a little bit afraid to get started here. It can be a little bit intimidating, but this is a great way to make a lot of money. And you're going to make some mistakes at first, but the catch is to try it. Tournaments. A lot of our customers tell us how much money they manage to pull in at a tournament for their specific sport of choice. Now, here's the way it works. It's easy to print on demand at an event. All you're going to need is to make sure you have some kind of tent with you, some kind of electricity access, and you're going to need transfers for the event. Now, we recommend you doing 1 or 2, if you have a big event, do 2 specific transfers for the event itself. Okay, so if it's a big baseball tournament, come up with 2 designs that are specific for that tournament. Have those printed up. If it's a smaller tournament, just 1 design will work just fine. But then in addition to that specific design for the tournament, have 4 or 5 stock designs for baseball in general. They can be funny, they can be serious, they can be inspiring, whatever you want. Something that's going to sell, obviously, but take 4 or 5 with you, because there's going to be the people that come up to you that don't necessarily want maybe their team did fantastic, but if you've got something else that's real funny, for it. Base the quantity on the number of participants, okay? Figure you're going to sell to 20%. If there are 35 teams in the tournament with 15 players per team, that's 525 players, order 100 event transfers. Okay. Now, this is just rough math. Again, I can't promise that's going to work for every single event, but this is a good place to start. And again, this information actually comes from you folks. We polled our customers about how they handle tournament sales, how they do tournaments, and this is the information that comes directly from them. So depending on where you're at, you might want to increase that a little bit, or if it's something high school baseball in your area is the be-all, end-all, then maybe 20% is not the best place to start. Maybe it's 30%, but either way. Have some add-ons too. Have some things like a strip that says mom, dad, grandparents, sister, that kind of thing. Families love to get this stuff, especially if it's at a tournament and their family member player does real well in the tournament. It's not unheard of at all for mom to want to get a tournament shirt for the specific event, but have mom stuck onto the shirt. And there's a couple ways you can do this. You can go about using our express names and print up some mom, dad, grandparent stuff, or you can use our peel and press letters. We sell sheets of the alphabet that are easily peeled off the paper, placed onto the garment, and then heat pressed. So it's easy just to have some letters sitting around where you can peel off mom, 2 M's and an O, or 2 D's and an A, that kind of thing. And of course, while you're there, when you do decide to do this, you're going to take the leap, you're going to try printing at an event, at a tournament, don't forget to market yourself. Have a sign, have a banner on your tent somewhere. Make sure people know who you are, and make sure you're giving handouts to every coach at the tournament. Make sure they know that you can make specific special screen printed uniforms or fan wear or spirit wear. Make sure they know what you're capable of. Use social media. If you don't have a Facebook page, it's a great advertising opportunity for you. If you're taking pictures at the tournament, maybe even with the players, posting them onto your Facebook page, other social medias like Instagram, Twitter, that kind of stuff. So make sure you're utilizing social media at the event. That live kind of stuff is what people love. All-Star games are a great opportunity as well. They are typically held at the end of a season, and what's beautiful for our industry is that All-Star games need their own uniforms. So when you do have the opportunity to quote an All-Star game, you're going to be making up a whole new uniform generally, and this is a great opportunity for you to get really creative. All-Star designs are not plain. They're not run-of-the-mill. They need to be flashy. They need to be something that gets people's attention, splatters and swirls and stars and stamp fonts and distresses and all sorts of that kind of stuff. So All-Star games are a great opportunity for you to get creative, and we give you the tools to do that here at Transfer Express. Our Easy View Online Designer will certainly help you along in terms of creating something really unique, really different for an All-Star team. So roster shirts, these are super, super popular as well. The roster shirts like this are something that is done generally towards the end of a season or the beginning of a season. It's going to be one or the other. Roster shirts are great because it's something that every kid loves. Every kid loves just point at a shirt and go, "That's my name, that's my name." So it's great to do these because the parents like them also. And if you really want to get creative, what you can do is you can do a roster shirt like this, but then you make up another order, or with the area, with the space left on the piece of transfer paper, put tiny little star clip arts or tiny little dot clip arts or baseball clip arts. And what you can do is when a child buys the roster shirt from you, you can offer to take the little star for an extra $1. You can take a star, one of the little star clip arts, and press it next to the kid's name on either side of the kid's name, or some way of helping the kid's name to stand out on their shirt. So again, just some ideas here. These roster shirts are a great way, even if you just offer it to the baseball team or to the league, for no other reason than to show them what you're capable of doing. Okay, everybody. We've covered a lot of information here in almost 45 minutes on the nose, actually. I hope everybody got something interesting out of this. I apologize that I did not see your pop-up chats, folks. I'm not sure why that happened this time around. But if you have any suggestions or questions, things that we didn't get to, we will contact you. Feel free to email us, info@transferexpress.com. And again, the PDF of the slides will be available immediately if you need it immediately. Email us at that info@transferexpress. We can send you a PDF of the slides. Otherwise, the slides and the recording will be available once a week goes by, once we fix our website issue here. So check out our blog at transferexpress.com. Our marketing team updates consistently. Actually, today we posted a great bit on hats, on caps, baseball caps. So definitely a great tidbit to follow up on. There's a lot of fun information there. And speaking of caps, the next webinar we're going to talk about is March 12th, and we're going to talk about how to decorate caps. We're going to talk about how to sell them, how to decorate them, what the trends are in caps. We're going to go over all that fun stuff. I will join you March 12th at 2 p.m. If you ever have any ideas on topics you want to see covered in a webinar, please email your ideas to us at info@transferexpress.com. A lot of the webinars that we do are based on your guys' input and the things you all want to see. So definitely hit us up if you have some ideas. In the meantime, I appreciate everybody attending today. Thank you for stopping by and spending the last 45 minutes with us. And I hope everybody has a